Hello guys, in this video I'm gonna give you the keys to master the LSit. First, we're gonna have a look at the mechanics of an LSit and why it's such an important pose to master in our arm balance journey. We're gonna cover the 3 key areas we need to use to get and hold the LSit. The common mistakes people do when working on the form, how to progress from beginner to master, and at the end I'll share with you bonus exercises to become a pro on your LSit. LSit is a fundamental arm balance that requires full body awareness. We can see it in calisthenics, bodyweight training, and yoga as it's a great pose that prepares us to do more advanced positions such as V-sit, Lolasana or the tag planche, and transitions such as press to handstand. This is not an easy pose as it requires pretty much our whole body to be engaged. But by understanding the principles and working on it progressively, everyone can achieve this pose. When I started, I struggled so much, but with consistency and effort, I was able to master it. And if I can do it, so do you. The 3 key requisites to master your LSit are shoulder strength, hamstring flexibility, and compression strength. In order to be able to lift our body from the ground, we need to use our shoulder strength. A common mistake that we all do when we start is to push down without thinking about how to optimize our push, which leads to the thought, my shoulders are too short. If we place our hands slightly forward from our hips and protract as well as depress our shoulders, we will find more space for our hips to lift. Hamstring flexibility is key in order to master the LSit as we need to be comfortable extending our legs forward when we are in the form. To develop hamstring flexibility, we can start with a standing forward fold with the knees bent. And then we work on bringing the hips higher and higher every time. After being comfortable standing, we can then move to sit on the floor, which may be harder as we will lose the help of gravity. A common mistake that I see many of my students do is bending their spine to compensate for the lack of hamstring flexibility. Instead of doing that, we need to try directing the chest forward in order to emphasize the hamstring stretch and the hip rotation. And remember, the goal is not just to extend our legs as we fold, but also to maintain a straight spine when doing so. And finally, the cherry on the cake, compression strength. This is a combination of strength and flexibility as we need to be opening our hamstrings to be able to compress more. The idea is that we actively hold our fold by activating our psoas as well as our core muscles. This will allow us to lift ourselves higher as well as prepare us for more advanced positions such as the V-sit. Common mistakes that people do when working on compression is imagining you need to press the abdomen very hard and make a six-pack. Instead, we want to imagine the lower belly going in and up towards the ribcage. The best exercise I find to develop compression strength are leg lifts and hip lifts. On our leg lifts, we can start lifting one leg at a time until we feel comfortable to lift both together. LSit back walks are by far the hardest exercises, and basically we first need to lift our hips and then we walk back with our feet as much as we can, holding at the top for as long as possible. Now we're gonna look at the LSit variations. Our first variation of the LSit is to just lift our hips off the floor, focusing on compression and shoulder strength. As we gain strength, we can try to lift the feet by bringing the knees as close to the chest as possible. Kind of like a tag LSit. When we feel more opening our hamstrings, we can move into one leg LSit, basically with one knee going to the chest and the other leg extended. And finally, when we're comfortable with single leg LSit, we can move into the full variation of the form. And lastly, my special tip to you guys to master the LSit is to try to bring your hips back when you compress. The more you're able to bring them back, the higher your LSit's gonna be. I know some people may say that this is not an LSit, but it will help you develop more compression strength, which will help you in positions such as Lolasana or tag planche, as well as jumping back and jumping through. Of course, in order to achieve that, you really need to work on your compression exercises. No one said it was easy, but if I could do it, you can too. And the more we work on it, the better we'll get. That is all guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit on the link below for the full Mastering Arm Balances course, where we'll be covering the fundamentals of arm balances, as well as positions such as crow, Lolasana or tag planche, Mayurasana or arm to lever, and much more. Namaste.